Welcome to a new video where I will play Kastaplast first runs only, and I will play all white with the front layout. And in my bag for the occasion I have these sweet minty discs. The Tor series on row 2 is a Malm, and I have two Toughs. One is more beaten up, so it will flip a little bit. And shout out to Oscar who borrowed me that one. And now onto the course. I start up with Idog on hole 1, which is a pretty scary hole. It's placed basically like an island hole. You can miss more to the left if you want to play safe, but when you're parking the basket as a righty backhand player like me, you have to go outside the OB and fade back inside. But I managed to do this very well on the first hole, and on to the next one with a birdie. And here, hole 2, I normally play the main layout, so this is of course much shorter, so I can use the fairway driver E-Dog once more, going a big height shot and just letting it fade into the sweet spot. And from there we can go with a putter straight uphill towards the basket, which is on a little shelf, so it's very important to find the right height here, otherwise you can end up rolling away and stuff like that. And spoiler alert, that's what's happening. Yeah, need to be a little bit more careful where you put your disc on that upshot. So here we have a little pitch up and some nice salad to deal with. Okay, taking a par, not ideal, but let's go to the next hole, hole 3. This one I was unsure of how to play it. I was thinking maybe I will go with a tough down straight toward the basket, but my girlfriend told me all FPO players and all open play the hyzer basically. So I tried this with the GUD and it worked out perfectly, getting a very short putt for the birdie, and I'm very happy about that. For someone who has been playing Ole White since its creation, it's a new experience for me to play the short layout. And here we have hole 4, and the course creator Camilla is sitting here enjoying the sun.
Och så lite tillbaka. Lite mycket.
The Stig was flipping over a little bit too much, but it doesn't really matter that much when playing for the short basket here. I can still use the Reco X and just push a slight aniflex towards the green. Would have been really hard to find the green on main layout from that position though. This is also the first round ever I'm putting with the Tuff, and it feels really good in the hand for putting. Also decent for throwing, so very nice putter. Here we go for hole 5, and this is one of the easier holes. I will now use the slightly understable Tuff and just put it on a straight line, letting it turn a little bit. Maybe letting it slide slightly on the ground on this hole to find the green here. Makes for an easy birdie. But now the next hole is one of the easier and also toughest holes on the course, because here it's basically if you make the island you will have a putt, probably getting the birdie, but if you miss the island the drop zone is really hard. So yeah, let's see what we can do. I'm going with the Tuff, turning it slightly too much, landing on the island, getting a little skip, and ending up into the water, the Snäckebecken, a little stream that goes through both all white and all yellow courses. So you can find it if you play all in several holes. So we are ending up with a bogey here, back to -3, and on to the par 5, hole number 7. A slightly risen up tee box and a shorter position here. I go with the Vass and doing a flip up drive, holding it pretty low. Don't need to bite off too much. Going with the yarn for the around the bend shot here. Putting it slightly too tight for my taste, but it works out and still ends up in a very good position. So here I can go with a upshot. I'm doing like a floaty half bid with the tuff here, giving it a chance, but still not going way far if not making it. So we have a short comeback putt. Of course, eagles are possible in the par 5s here, but just making birdies and minimizing damage, and we will get a good score. On to hole 8. Doing a slight anhyzer with the e-dog here, just because it's so uphill. So get a good little flex on it and getting through the gap perfectly. Not a tough job for the tuff, which incidentally in Swedish also means tough. Maybe I should translate some more. Idog means diligent. It's basically the only fairway driver I have in this bag. Malm is also one that I will use soon, I think. But I rely heavily on the Idog and the Tuff for many shots on this round, I think. So this putt, this is a very uphill putt. And it's so scary you can roll away here. I have done that so many times. So you don't want to leave it short. And still, I managed to leave it short on the putt. What a silly sausage. Anyway, hole 10. Here I'm using the Malm, which is or in English, or in Swedish rather. Doing an anhyzer flex, hitting the right of the two gaps in the end. This hole is really hard, and I'm really happy with that outcome. I was contemplating if I wanted to do a straighter shot with the E-Dog, but then I also want to showcase different discs from the bag, so I took the Malm, and well, I also like anhyzer flex. On to hole 11. I use the flippy tuff here, and I'm going just straight and really high, so it flips over and glides far to the right side, so I don't have to use forehand, which is not my first weapon of choice. And here on the green I missed this pretty short putt. Sad. But then again, we come to hole 12, which is one of my absolutely favorite holes in all courses I ever played. And here we go with the E-Dog again, going a high hyzer, finding in the middle, pretty good sweet spot. And now I'm playing for the short basket on the right side, so here we can take a mid-range. I'm using the Gud, which is Stinger, I believe in English, as the newest disc in the Kastaplast lineup. It's a very nice mid-range, straight with a little bit of fade, and I'm sure most people who play only Kastaplast are really happy with that release. I got an easy putt for birdie, and on to hole 13, which is a par 5 with both a shorter tee position and a shorter basket position. I'm doing a forehand, and I'm doing a really good one with krut, and krut means gunpowder in English. I think this disc was supposed to be the most overstable driver when it came out, but it's actually very unstable for me, at least in this version. So for my somewhat weak forehand, it sure gives a little bit of help. Still, I miss my line on the second shot when going for eagle here. So I went a little bit inside and got stuck, and now I have to do this really high turning shot, putting a lot of spin on it, letting it get over to the right side here, ending up under this spruce, or what you call it, Christmas tree kind of, but still I can manage to make a birdie from there. Yeah, the tuff is doing great work. Hole 14, same hole as main, super straight, downhill, and tight through the wood.
Oh ja.
Making
Ding, ding,
a really good shot with the gud.
Nice.
Nice.
And ending up on the green. This is a dangerous putt. There's a lot of slope down to the right with a slightly risen basket.
Whoa. Elevator.
So I was a little bit nervous on that one. Put it slightly too high. Got away with it. A really good birdie. Alright, hole 15. For the short version, it's the same hole as main, but it's a par 5 instead of a par 4. So as I'm usually going for birdie here, I'm now playing for the eagle. And we're starting off with the Krut, throwing it pretty straight, letting it flip a little bit, doing an S-line, and ending up a little bit shorter than I wanted, but it's still very good in the middle. Here we go with Vass, and I'm trying to do like a hyzer flip towards the basket and shooting it way nose up. So putting it too high up in the air and just fading off and not making a very good approach for the eagle, sadly. So taking the Berg X, doing a floaty bid, hoping to get some fade into basket, but the wind sucks it straight down. Pretty much tailwind on this hole all the way, I remember. And well, it's still an easy birdie on the short version. And hole 16, it's a technical anhyzer flex hole. I'm trying out to do the shot with the gud, throwing it high and aiming down towards the downhill basket here. It's not exactly a flex, it's more like just straighten it out in the end. So I'm just outside the circle here, I think. Yeah, doing a jump putt, really aggressive because I wanted the birdie, and making the really bad mistake of hitting top of the basket, so you get a skip away. It was getting a bit windy here, so here we have some strong wind from the left, and it just sucks the disc down. And what do? We get a bogey. After such a good streak with lots of birdies, having a really strong round, this is the hole I'm making a bogey, and I really like this hole. Well, got pretty frustrated, so on next hole here, short 17, 90 meters slightly uphill, I was thinking E-dog, and then I was like, no, let's go with the gud mid-range, so I can throw as hard as I can on a hyzer here, because I was angry and I wanted to relieve some energy, negative energy, and well, sometimes that can work out, sometimes it doesn't, but this time we are hitting the green here, calming down, making a stronger putt, back on the birdie train. And here at the end station, hole 18, short version is significantly shorter. I'm using E-dog here and trying to push almost into the hazard, but just short of it, of course. It's okay to fade a little bit to the left. Maybe I did fade a little bit more than I wanted, but that's fine. And we do the upshot with järn, which is iron. English, doing a hyzer. Very stable disc, doesn't go anywhere with the wind. And for added feature, my girlfriend is blowing bubbles for my last putt of the day. -11, great score. Let's see what discs I didn't use and which I missed the translation on. I didn't use guld, which means gold. I didn't use nord, which is north. And I did use vass, which is sharp. And stig, which is path. Berg is mountain. And reko is really hard to translate, I think, but I would say it's like if someone is a decent person. And that's all for this video, and have a good one, or as we say in my local Swedish tongue, ha det gött.